All right, everyone, let's dive right in. I want you to think about something that seems incredibly simple, but is actually one of the deepest puzzles in all of philosophy. And that's the question of time. Not time on a clock, but time as we actually live it, as we experience it. Today, we are going to unpack one of the most profound and frankly difficult discoveries about how our own minds build the flow of time itself. It might seem a little abstract at first, but I promise you, by the end of this, you'll realize it's something you're doing every single second of your life. And we're going to start with a question that sounds almost laughably simple. How do you hear a melody? No, really, think about it for a second. When you're listening to music, what is actually happening? What are you experiencing? Because you're not just hearing a random sequence of sounds, right? You're not hearing C, then a moment later E, then another moment later G. If that's all it was, it would just be noise. Instead, you hear a melody. It's a single, unified thing, this flowing object that moves through time. But how is that even possible? The notes themselves are just fleeting little bursts of sound. How does your mind stitch them together into this coherent whole? The answer to that simple question is going to completely flip your understanding of time on its head. To really get why this is such a mind-bending puzzle, we first have to take on and take apart the way pretty much all of us instinctively think about time. We all have this default model in our heads, right? That time is like a line, a series of individual now points. Kind of like the frames of a movie reel, just one after another. The past, it's gone. The future, it's not here yet. The only thing that's truly real is this tiny moving pinprick of the present. It seems logical, right? It's neat, it's clean, but let's actually put this model to the test. Let's apply this succession of nows idea back to our melody. If it's true, then when you hear the note E, the note C that came right before it is gone. It's in the past. It no longer exists. And the note G that's about to be played, it's in the future. It doesn't exist yet. So in that tiny pinprick of a now, all that's real is the single sound of E. You literally can't hear a relationship between the notes because only one of them exists at a time. You can't hear a melody. All you can hear is a meaningless blip. So this common sense model, it just completely fails to describe our actual reality. And here's the final nail in the coffin for that old model. Jean-Paul Sartre, who was building on these ideas from Husserl, pointed out something devastating. He said, okay, try to really isolate that now point. I mean, strip away every little trace of the past and every little hint of the future. What are you left with? As he puts it, nothing remained but an infinitesimal instant, a nothingness. It shrinks down to a mathematical point with zero duration. You can't experience a zero duration point. It's a void. So that common sense model of time, when you really examine it, it just dissolves. Okay, so if time isn't a line of isolated darts, what in the world is it? This is where Edmund Husserl comes in with a totally revolutionary answer. He tells us to stop looking at clocks and start looking at the actual structure of our own consciousness. The big breakthrough is this. The present we actually experience is not a razor's edge. It's not a point. It has, as this quote puts it, a thickness, a spreading out. I love that imagery. Husserl called this the living present. It has dimension. It has depth. So here's the fundamental shift you have to make. Consciousness is not a passive movie screen that moments just flash across. No way. It's an active, structured field. Right now, as you're listening to me, your consciousness is actively reaching back to hold on to the words I just said while simultaneously experiencing the word you're hearing now and also leaning forward to anticipate the next one. It's a dynamic, constant process of grasping. And for any of you thinking this sounds a bit poetic or vague, it's not. Husserl was after a rigorous description. He identified a very precise three-part structure that makes this thick present possible. So let's break down the mechanics. These are the three key terms. You'll want to remember these: primal impression, retention, and protension. These three functions, all working together, form the dynamic engine of every single moment of your conscious life. First, you've got the primal impression. This is the source point. This is the moment of pure newness flooding into your awareness. So when the note E sounds, that immediate direct hit of the sound as it's happening, that's the primal impression. It's the absolute cutting edge of the present. Next, and this is absolutely crucial, is retention. So as you're hearing the note E, the previous note C didn't just blink out of existence. Your consciousness retains it. Now, it's really important to get this. This is not memory. Memory is when you try to recall a song you heard yesterday. Retention is a direct hold on what just was. It's like the trail of a comet. You still have it in hand, as Husserl said. It's present to you as just past, and that is what makes it possible for you to hear E in relation to C. And finally, there's pretension. See, consciousness is never just sitting there. It's always leaning forward. It's always anticipating. Because you just heard C and then E, your mind is primed. You have a real expectation, it's kind of vague, but it's there, of what might come next, maybe a G. This isn't a psychic prediction, it's more like an open horizon that your consciousness expects to be filled in the very next moment. It's what gives our experience its forward drive. So the key is that these three things, primal impression, retention, and pretension, aren't separate pieces. They are one single, interwoven, dynamic structure. Let's put it all together and see exactly how it solves our original problem. Okay, let's walk through it with a melody. Note C sounds. Boom. That's the primal impression. Now, the instant that note E sounds, it becomes the new primal impression. But at that exact same moment, the consciousness of C gets modified. It slides back into retention. It's still there, you're still holding it, but now it's present as just past. And because you're holding C in retention while hearing E as the primal impression, you form a pretension for what's next. This whole structure, this constant, flowing dance, is what allows a string of separate sounds to be experienced as one single, unified melody. One of Husserl's students, Maurice Merleau-Ponty, summed it all up perfectly. We have to completely ditch that old metaphor of time as a line. It's wrong. A much, much better way to think about it is as a network of intentionalities. Every moment is a node that's reaching back into the immediate past and pointing toward the immediate future. It's this rich, interconnected web that creates the texture of our lived experience. So, the big so what question. Why does this matter? Well, this isn't just some clever little theory about how we listen to music. This is a fundamental discovery about the very nature of consciousness and how we construct our reality. First, what this shows us is that consciousness isn't just some passive mirror reflecting the world. It is an active force that builds the world we experience, moment by moment. Second, this three-part structure, this engine, is the basis for experiencing any event that unfolds in time. Following a conversation, watching a movie, even just following your own thoughts. It's all powered by this. And for those of you who might be skeptical about this whole project, this is the point. Phenomenology offers a rigorous, almost scientific description of the very architecture of our minds. It shows our inner, subjective life isn't just a random mess, it has a complex, universal structure that we can actually map out. And so, that leaves us with a massive question to think about. We've just seen that our experience of time isn't something that just happens to us. It's something our consciousness actively creates. So, if our minds have the power to structure something as fundamental as time, what else are they structuring? What other parts of our reality are we actively building right now without even realizing it?